Hi friends, welcome back to I think what is 2 weeks after I made the first ever video I've ever made on YouTube, and it was all about our gardening experience during lockdown. So this is now maybe 3 weeks on, I think 3 weeks on, and I thought I'd just show you some of the progress that we've had. So we planted a whole bunch of stuff at the beginning of lockdown. It was fruit bushes, vegetables, kind of salad things, some indoors, some outdoors, and I thought I'd give you an updated video to show you the highs and lows of what we've had so far and some of the progress and some of the little things giving us hope like this week out here. I want to start with saying that this has been such a learning curve. We've learned things like how to actually plant from seed properly, when to transplant, how to water, all of this along the way. Some of it's been really successful and some of it's not, but here's just a few tips and tricks that I've found and some of the highs and lows this far. One of the things that we planted from seed was cucumbers. We had 4 seeds, we had 6 seeds, and this is the 4 that have come out and are now growing. So as you can see, this one's probably the biggest, beautiful, big, true leaves. You can see the seedling leaves just below. And so really chuffed at how these are going. These have been growing inside, and we've been keeping them on our window ledge, which is a bit of a sun trap. And this is a tip that I learned from Beach Grove Gardens, that if you have plastic bottles lying around, so these are so old, and we chop them in half, and when they're small you can go like this and almost create like a mini greenhouse. And we had kind of 2 bottles, so we had 4 of these, and now they're getting quite big, but we had these all in mini greenhouses. You'll also remember that one of the things we planted was tomatoes. Now, these have been a traumatic experience so far. So in the beginning we planted a whole bunch and a few seedlings sprouted, not as many as we'd hoped, and what went wrong is I think I transplanted the little tiny seedlings too early and I put them into bigger pots. They didn't survive, there was something funky going on with the soil, I don't think I watered them correctly, all a bit of a riot, so those are all away, that's all now gone. However, there was one tray that it was outside in the greenhouse, or the kind of makeshift greenhouse that we've got, this one here, and I took out a tray, and as I was bringing it inside I dropped it on the floor. So I had this tray of compost with little tomato seeds in it, and there was no seedlings, but I dropped it on the floor, and so all this compost went everywhere. And because Cooper was running about in the garden, I had to just quickly clean it up. I put all the soil back into the tray, and I actually put it in the utility room and just left it. So I totally forgot about it, and the other day I went through and this is what I found. Little tomato seedlings. So this is the tray that was actually dropped on the ground, and here are finally, I think there's 6 in total, tomato seedlings, and you can see that they've got not just their seed leaves here, but they've also got these true leaves coming through, and you can tell they're a bit random but sporadic, so this is giving us hope, but I'm almost petrified. Although we do still have some funky soil doing something, not really sure what this is yet, but hoping to just leave it, and hopefully these are going to be strong tomato plants. The other thing we were doing was regrowing vegetables, so we were attempting to regrow spring onions, celery and leeks, and I can show you some of the progress with those. So the leek is actually still in the regrowing phase, so this is what it looks like just now. Growing quite funny, sort of got 2 sprouts either side, but got some good roots going, got this, and that is still in a jar with some water. We then have the celery, so that's the next fail. I don't think it's going right. I think this is going to go in the compost. So it's not growing as big and leafy as I wanted. It's not really doing anything, and I think it's probably rotting at the bottom. So that's a fail. However, we have so many spring onions that are now growing up. So there's 4 in this one. Then there's another 4 growing in this one. And this one has 3 big ones and then like 8 small ones that I planted the other day. So spring onions are being a total success, and we'll actually make our first meal with some of these soon, later on this week. That was all of the stuff that we grew inside, and now I'm going to take you to the outside garden patch to show you the things that we planted straight into the soil after we transformed our garden and put in a vegetable patch, and we repurposed that rabbit run to become a sort of fruit bush protection cage. This is just a little reminder about what we created, so 2 kind of vegetable patch areas with fruit bushes. I'll start down this end. Down here we got some already sort of seedling vegetables, we got leeks and carrots from the local gardening centre. Those are just going well, not much change noticed, but still growing. Then we have our carrots from seed. If you look so closely you can see stuff, but really difficult at the moment. Then we have our lettuce, and the lettuce is actually going a lot better. It might be quite hard to see, but you can see little seedlings like coming out, and they're coming out in like a big line, so you can definitely tell that it's from what we've planted. But the most successful thing has been our potatoes. These are the 2 seed potatoes my gran gave us. They are proudly coming through, and we're getting really excited about that. And these are what I've been putting my banana fertiliser on, which I'll show you in a bit as well. Continuing with veg, we've got celery, cabbage and Brussels sprouts, all from the garden centre, so those are just going well. We put down some slug repellent that we found, but we're going to be experimenting with some natural ones like coffee grounds as well. And then we have the beetroot and cauliflower. Not much to report here, a few things sprouting through, but we can't tell if it's a weed or not, so that's quite fun. And then we have the fruit bushes, so being kept in here. We have all of them growing nicely. We've definitely noticed that they've got bigger. Obviously I don't think there'll be much fruit, but you can see here already little things that kind of look like what are going to be blueberries, so that's really exciting. Raspberry bush, not looking like it's got any fruit or anything yet, but we'll keep an eye on all of these. You can see little flowers down the end, so exciting progress for sure. I thought I would quickly also show you the pea shoots that we planted. They are next to this big wall, kind of near the herb-ish garden thing that we've got going on this really high ledge. These will obviously need some supports, so we'll probably be putting some of those in today, like some bamboo canes and things, just to help them as they're looking a bit droopy. But that'll be exciting, experimenting with all of these new things. One of the things we also want to do is be as eco-friendly, sustainable, that kind of thing as possible. And in our garden we don't want to be using loads of chemicals or pesticides, but we do want to get all the goodness out of food scraps and things we have lying around. So this is something that I've kind of read about online. It's banana peel fertiliser. Banana peels have loads of great nutrients in them and different minerals and things. So these bananas particularly have a lot of potassium, and there's potassium loving plants, and in particular you get things like roses. Absolutely love them, but for our garden we're putting them on the potatoes. So we store up our lovely looking banana peels in a big glass jar for about a week, just collect it as we go, and on a Saturday I pour it over the potatoes. So I'm going to go do that today, and who knows if that's the secret to why they're growing, but it's nice to sort of squeeze all the goodness out of these before they go into the compost.
Another thing that we've been doing to squeeze the goodness out of the stuff that we have in our house is we have been collecting all of our coffee grounds. So we use coffee beans ground, and normally these would just go into the compost, but we've been learning about other ways that we can use them. We have been trying them out as a sort of natural slug repellent, so we've been putting those around the pansies out the front, and we've also been thinking about how we could use them in the vegetable patch once the slug repellent that we found has run out. Also, coffee grounds are great for things like face scrubs and body scrubs and all that kind of stuff, so it is great that we've kept it. We found this big weird vase thing, so we've been collecting them all and using every last drop of them to make sure we squeeze the goodness out of it and use everything we can to help improve our garden.
That's mostly all of the progress that we've had. It's good to kind of share the highs and lows. So lows have been regrowing celery didn't really work. The first load of tomato seedlings are a goner. But everything else seems to be going well. Definitely learning a lot of patience. I was assuming we'd be already harvesting things, but it's a long slog to do gardening and things need to be in there for weeks. It's been great to learn more about seedlings, so learning that actually you really need to take a lot of care of them when they're in their infancy. The first set of leaves are not the strongest, and so you need to really wait for a lot of growth development before you start transplanting them and moving them into their own pots. learning a lot about watering, not to overwater, not to underwater, to water from below, water from above, all of this kind of stuff, and it's all just been a learning curve. So it's been great to kind of experiment with that sort of thing. It's been nice to slowly see little seeds popping outside as well. We live in Glasgow in Scotland, not the warmest, not always the kind of sunniest, driest weather, and so we were nervous about, actually, is the soil here right, or have we got too much rain, is it just too cold? But it's nice to see things sort of slowly developing. So hopefully that's given you a whistle-stop tour. It's definitely going to be a shorter video than normal because it's just a check-up, but that's how the progress is going so far. I'm really hopeful that some of the tomato seedlings will become stronger and be able to actually become one of the plants, and I'm just being really hopeful that I can take care of my cucumber seedlings as well as they grow and get bigger. But doing loads of reading, sort of surfing the internet and finding loads of top tips. But hopefully you enjoyed just seeing the really quick update on how things are going, but I'll make sure to be checking in, and I regularly post when all of this is live on my Instagram stories, so check out my Instagram, LifeSpaceLaura, if you want to see live how I'm getting on and some of the trauma that I'm having with things at the time, and yeah, you can help me out with all my questions. But thanks so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it.